Guys, so this is What If Robin Had All for One, Part 3. Guys, I've been working on Part 3 for a hot minute, not like a long time, maybe a couple days. But basically, this is a What If I've been working on for a long time that I really wanted to do, and I really very much want and very much enjoy. Now, basically, after this What If, I'm going to be uploading, What If Deku was a Lycan, Part 2. Now let's get into it, guys. Now, I last left off on episode 5, Schooled. Now I'm going to be continuing episode 6. Episode 6. I'm going to be skipping episode 7 and 8. 7 and 8 barely show Robin in the episodes. So, I'm going to be showing him in episode 6, 9, and 6, 9, and 12. And maybe, Alpha Male. But yeah, I actually might skip episode 13 since it's just a boring type of episode. But let's get into it, guys. Now, we start our story off basically doing the beginning of episode 6. Now, we see our. Now, basically, last time I left off, Robin was able to get his hands on Amazo's body, or get his hands on Amazo's hand, absorbing half or some of the abilities of the Justice Leaguers. Like a little bit, I mean, just a little fraction of Superman's powers, even a fraction, weaker than Connor's powers. But still, he would have a pretty good, set, but he could only, he had the grass onto the Amazo hand. So what we see off of camera, Robin did melt down not melt down, he redesigned the Amazo hand into a type of bar or like cosmic rod, basically type of, baton thing. Turn it into a green and reddish baton. Basically, if when he grabbed it, he would be able to tap into half of the powers of the Justice Leaguers, them their powers just being like slightly about 1 times weaker than the original. Now let's get into it, guys. Let's start our story off at pretty much Infinity Island. We see Speedy or Red Hood sneaking in there, basically saving a scientist. This scientist will be working on nanotech, the shadow needed for shadow things. But basically, as Speedy was saving her, she said to not leave behind the device. But Speedy said, either the device or you, lady, pick. Basically, she picked herself, and they went on, and pretty much they escaped. Now, after they escaped, we will see us get switched with the rest of the team after the intro. Us and the rest of the team having a fun beach day. And basically, as this happening, we would have, back and forth with the team having a fun beach day, and Wally being stuck in school, having the worst day of his life. And as we get switched to pretty much after that, Wally shows up to the boom tube with all his beach gear to get it still beach, but he would shortly see that everybody was in their hero attire and was just ready to go. And as Robin looked at Wally, he scoffed and just looked away. And as we see that another teammate would be introduced to the team, Artemis. Basically, Wally being reluctant and not really, wanting Artemis to be on his team. Or be on the team. Basically, as we see this happen, we see, out of nowhere, Red Arrow shows up. Or, what it forced to it is, Speedy. Now, as we see Speedy, he shows up. Green Arrow being excited. But basically, Speedy saying, I'm not here for you. He pretty much shows them the mission of the League of Shadows and about the nanotech and the scientist. Or basically showing them about everything that's going on and how the nanotech is designed to get anything. No, firewall. Nothing can break them. Nothing can keep them at bay. They can get information from anywhere, any place, any time. Basically, breaking through. They can pretty much eat through concrete, flesh, bone, anything, even the strongest of middles. Basically, getting into any server, any internet connection, anything. Basically, any information that's possible on camera. Now, basically, we see pretty much Wally and Artemis still do argue a little bit, saying that their arguments are flaring up. Now, basically, as we see Speedy go on with this whole entire monologue about the mission and the scientist and how he stashed the scientist in Happy Harbor High School. Green Arrow, scolds him on this, but Speedy doesn't really care and just tells them, it's their mission now. Basically, in this canon, him not really caring. As Speedy would leave, we would see pretty much the rest of the team would have been guarding the scientists in the high school. Basically, Megan and the rest of the team being outside, and Robin still being in the inner area where pretty much, pretty much the scientist working. Now, as Robin was, looking around, basically you see him looking at his baton thing. Basically him or Wally saying, "What is that?" Now, basically Robin would have said nothing, basically putting it back into his utility belt and being portable enough to turn into something like, I don't know, like it being able to shrink down to like a type of, well, let's what was it, Febreze can type, or was it size? Basically, as we see, pretty much Wally and Artemis still do argue. Artemis, being forced, or Artemis not really being forced, but her just walking off to help Megan and Superboy out of the facility, or help them guard out of the area of the high school. As we said, how Wally still makes that embarrassing comment with his mind thoughts, or because they're all mentally linked. We see that the rest of the episode goes similarly the same. When Robin and Connor leave, basically as Robin and Connor leave, I'm gonna be skipping over the whole entire scenes between the rest of the team, because Connor and Robin is mainly the person that's going to be changing this situation or this story, but it's not really going to change that much. As we see, when you switch to pretty much Connor and Robin go into Star Labs and see what's going on. They're too late, and they see how Star Labs is demolished, destroyed, and just stripped down. Basically saying that the nanotech just destroyed everything. Everything is gone. It's just a pile of rubble. And basically, as we see this happen, we pretty much see that Robin, looks more closer and basically says we gotta get rid of these. Now basically, as we get switched to the rest of the team, relocating the scientists after the assassin attack, after the whole entire situation, we get switched to the rest of the team, where we see that pretty much Robin and Connor would have been going to Wayne Tech, seeing that Wayne Tech was about to get ransacked by the androids. I mean, not by the androids, the nanotech. Sorry, guys, I unscripted this part. But basically, as we see Connor and the rest of the team, Connor and Robin, or Connor spots the, laser guy, or the guy that's working with the nanotech, he goes to fight him. As we see Robin get out of Bioship, him trying to stop the nanotech. Basically, as he goes after the nanotech, he kind of glides down using a little bit of power, or a little bit of flight power from Superman, him still holding on to the baton. As he was running off, you would see that he used some of his powers he already has, some of the powers of Blockbuster, him punching through the gate instead of just overriding with a code. Basically, him pretty much, running off. As you see, he gets switched back to the rest of the team fighting the Shadow League, the Shadows. And basically, we see the nanotech would have gone through pretty much, what was it, Wayne Tech trying to get his information, but we see that Robin would have hacked into Wayne Tech, basically trying to stop it. Now, as we see that he would, try to hack down, we see that he used a slight power, basically, or was it not power, but he will use a slight random power, basically some sort of nanotech ability, basically him being able to psychically control the nanobots, basically it not being able to be as efficient as possible, so he wouldn't have full control, and they would still be doing their whole entire thing of taking information. But the last second, pretty much the override happened, and the nanotech was well destroyed. And basically, we get switched to Rock back to Superboy or Connor taking down the guy, or the guy with the laser helmet that was manding nanotech. Basically, we get switched back to the rest of the team, where we see Artemis and pretty much Sisher, I don't know, I don't remember her name. Artemis and Stretcher, I don't remember her name, the assassin from episode 6. Now, basically, as we see, they have a little bit of a moment. Basically, I see that Artemis and, well, Cesar, I don't remember. I don't remember how to pronounce her name. I don't remember her name. I know some of it. I know Stretcher. I don't remember. But basically, we see that Artemis lets her go, assuming that, well, she knows who this assassin is. And as we get switched to the rest of the team, them still having the same argument, and at that point, it really changing. And the rest of the episode goes exactly the same. Now we get switched to pretty much after that episode. Now, guys, sorry, guys. So after that episode, Robin isn't in denial or episode 7. And I'm pretty sure it's not an episode downtime. Or let me just check real quick. He was. Now, basically, we start our story at the beginning of episode 8. It's probably going to be skimming through it because most of the time Robin didn't really show a very, relevant part in the episode. Now, basically, as we get switched to Gotham City and the team fighting against Clayface, we see that the team is actually not really losing as in canon, but still though. And basically, as the team is getting defeated by pretty much what was it, Clayface, we see that Robin would have came in clutch, basically throwing a huge amount of electricity, copying some Justice League powers. Basically, him shooting it at, or not electricity powers, I think mimicking some of the abilities of, let's say, Black Canary, him shooting a sonic wave towards Clayface. Now, Clayface would have hit Robin, Robin losing the baton or having the baton hit out of his hand, basically falling under a crate. As Robin would see where it fell, but he wouldn't be able to get to it at that point. He would use some of his power or the main ability, and basically him using his power absorption to pretty much absorb some of the powers of Clayface. Now Clayface would be resistant and would have morphed out of the way of Robin's hands, but Robin would have morphed his body into a red version of Clayface, him fighting against Clayface back and forth. Now, as Robin was losing some power since he halfway copied, Clayface's abilities, we see that Robin would have made, a Clayface sword, basically kicking and slicing into Clayface. As Clayface is dodging most of this and just regenerating from each slice, he would hit Robin with a nasty punch, knocking Robin out, and basically having his powers get knocked out of his body, him being covered in red, clay, him falling down to the ground. As Clayface is about to finish it, we see a Batman, the Batman, would have shown up, taking down Clayface himself. Now, basically, as we see, pretty much Batman would have taken out Clayface, or would have told Robin to stop relying on his powers, and pretty much telling Robin to, you need more training, and you need to stop relying on them. Now, as we can switch to the rest of the team, you see that Batman is kind of, angered at Aqualad because he, led the team at a very, awkward path, and it didn't really go well. Basically, as you see that, the rest of the team, pretty much Robin tries to stand up to, Aqualad, but Batman tells Robin to stop, basically telling Robin to refrain from using your powers for the rest of the mission until I say so. Basically, Robin saying, "What do you mean?" And Batman would have gave him that, death stare, and Robin would have just stayed quiet and walked off. As we get switched to the rest of the episode, where we get switched to that intro, we see that Aqualad goes out to Atlantis to pretty much, go down there for downtime, and to pretty much become more at home with himself, more, let's just say, whole. As we get switched to Megan and Connor, basically, sharing that little bit of a moment. Basically, we get switched back to Atlantis, and pretty much the episode goes somewhat the same. But as we see Robin training, we see that Robin starts to train even more vigorously, but we see halfway through it, Bruce does feel a little bit, not kinder, I would guess, and he starts to, spend some father and son type of time with Grayson, basically playing basketball, and us seeing that humble type of moment. And basically, a wholesome type of moment. And as they switch to Wally and his entire situation with his family and him spending time with the Barry family, we get switched off from there. And as we get switched later on in the episode where we see Aqualad and his adventures in Atlantis and everything going similarly the same, exactly the same actually, we get switched to, Artemis and her mother, Aqualad, back to Aqualad. And basically the episode, I'm going to skim through it because mainly Robin didn't show that much of a relevant or irrelevant, role in this episode. So yeah, let's switch to episode 9. Let's just move to episode 9. Now basically, we get switched to pretty much Megan in the middle of the desert, basically her not knowing where she is, and her slightly for a minute forgetting about English, and her realizing that she's on Earth. As she's on Earth, she runs into Connor, and Connor seems like he doesn't know anything as well. He's lost his memories. As we see Megan and Connor fight, we see that Connor just sprints off, and basically us seeing that seeing, everything go down similar the same. As this happened, we get switched to the intro, and basically we would see Robin wake up, basically him being confused on where he was. Now, since Robin didn't know enough about his powers before he joined the Young Justice, because most of them lost their memories right before they went to pretty much, what was it, Katniss. We see that Robin, sees soldiers coming towards him, and he disappears into the shadows. Basically, him knowing that he has powers, but at this point he wouldn't know that he, copied the abilities of Blockbuster. Him just knowing that he has the ability to copy other powers. Him not really knowing the base, or him not really knowing he has Blockbuster's powers or super strength like that. Now, basically, as we see, pretty much Robin and the Robin, has some vague memories of Batman telling him about a mission. As Robin, goes down, he finds and he comes across Superboy's ripped up shirt. Basically, him being confused or him trying to figure out where he is. I can switch to the rest of the team. I've seen Artemis and Wally. Basically, I've seen that Wally would have been there for Artemis and them both losing their memories. After that would happen, we basically see they would get attacked by some soldiers and they would start to run away. As we see Megan fly around, she would tap into her mind with her powers, basically getting some of the memories, or most of the memories as possible. And pretty much the rest of the episode would have gone the same. And as we see the episode go somewhere the same, we see that we go. Sorry guys, I literally just forgot. We skim through the rest of the episode, us seeing that Connor Snow gets, captured and everything goes somewhere the same. We see that at, pretty much the area when the soldiers were camping out when they went back to the, docking point, the last place I remember going before they lost their memories. Robin would have shown up, but he would have been dodging left and right. And as, soldiers would have tried to shoot him, pretty much Robin would have dodged it, but one bullet would have hit him. Basically, him being confused on how it didn't kill him. Him looking at his body, seeing that it left a little bit of a bruise, but the bullet was bounced off of him like it was nothing. Basically, him unconsciously, or pretty much unconsciously, tapping into some of the abilities of Blockbuster, becoming slightly bulletproof. And basically, as we see pretty much Robin and the rest of the team unite, Robin still knowing who Wally is, or still knowing Wally, we see that the rest of the team gets shown memories from Megan. Megan tapping into their minds and telling them about their memories and everything. As we get switched to Robin and the rest of the team remembering the mission Batman gave them, and about how some sort of telepath erased their memories or gave them a slight amnesia. Basically, you see the rest of the episode would have gone similar the same. Robin still helping out the rest of the team still helping out what was it, Aqualad. As we would see this happen, and basically as we see Robin, Artemis, and Kid Flash pretty much dragging around was it Aqualad, we see that they would try to track down Bioship, but we see that they find some trouble seeing that soldiers would have passed by them. And as we see, Artemis and Wally still do argue. And we get switched back to the whole entire psychic fight between Megan and, what was it? I don't remember his name, but the other guy. Basically, we see that, Megan still finds, Connor, gives him all his memories and makes him remember everything from the last, 9 episodes. And basically, as we see the episode go somewhere the same, Megan winning the fight, and basically the guy with the mental guy, Ace, I think his name is Ace, pretty much he gets defeated, and the rest of the team pretty much saves Aqualad, and they get themselves back on the way to pretty much, they get themselves back on the way to, Mount Justice. Basically, as we get switched by this, episode 10 targets barely, very much barely show, or even for that matter, pretty much, even mention Robin. So, basically, I'm just gonna be skimming past, episode 10, and I'm gonna be skipping through episode 11 as well, since episode 11 doesn't really change that much. And basically, never mind. Basically, yes, episode 11 goes exactly the same. And we get to episode 12. Let's get into it, guys. We switch to the beginning of episode 12, us seeing Artemis wake up and her having a little bit of a flashback as she was a child, and us getting switched back to the morning and present time where we see her pretty much at Gotham High, and we see out of nowhere a random kid, actually Robin, would have taken a selfie with her. Basically, her not knowing who that kid was, because both of them wouldn't know each other's identities. After we get switched back to Mount Justice, where we see pretty much Megan and Cereal Boy sharing a kiss, pretty much an episode what was it? I think in episode 12 or episode I think episode 11, we see that relationship blossom. Now basically, as we see, Wally still doesn't know this. He comes up to them saying that you guys have spent a lot of time together. As we get switched to the rest of the team is is pretty much doing their whole entire thing, all up until we see Artemis and Robin, you know, come across each other as they get to so pretty much a telephone tower or a telephone box. Basically, them, going in there because there's a boom tube point for the Mount Justice. As we see that Robin goes first, we see that Artemis slowly follows, but we see that pretty much, sparks start to fly around. We get hit with the intro, but after that, we see sparks start to fly around alongside laser beams and a bunch of other things, mainly from Robin. Robin having his baton in his hand, basically him kicking back and forth and throwing waves of pretty much energy and also doing some sort of silent claps. As you see the rest of the episode goes similarly the same, them running off, seeing that Robin, didn't really use all of his power. Basically, we see the rest of the team, both of them would have started to, get washed away. And then this wash away, we see that Robin would have lost his baton in Mount Justice, him not knowing where it was. Because I feel like the baton gave him a little bit too much of an OP-ness, because he could just tap into the power of Martian Manhunter, the power of Superman, or something like that. And even if you're one time bigger than Superman, you're still pretty OP. And basically, pretty much, we see that Robin starts to run off, him just having some of the abilities of him just having the base abilities or just the abilities of Blockbuster and a couple others. Basically, as we see, Robin just starts to resort to, Robin things. And basically, we see that Robin and Artemis try to do a home front. And basically, as they try to stand their ground against a fire tornado that was chasing them, pretty much we see that, the water starts to go out of whack in the, pretty much, what was it, the boys' locker room, or the locker room. Basically, us seeing that, something's going on. The elements of fire and water are just going crazy in the Mount Justice. As they start to run around in the facility, and then eventually come across the chimney right above the stove in the kitchen area, they, sneak through there after Robin does a little bit of hacking. Pretty much we see that they get into the tunnels, and we see that they, start to look around through the tunnels, and as they get to the steam area, we see that they come across, or they see a fiery silhouette. Basically, a woman, or some sort of woman, covered in some sort of a fire silhouette. Basically, as they see that they will be running across the steam pipe room, they will see that heat in this room will be going critical. Basically, breaking the, the scalers, and also just steam going everywhere. As they were running around, they would get spotted by the fire entity, or the fire, silhouette, basically shooting fireballs at them. As Robin was seeing this, we said Robin would have been, looking at this, and pretty much we said Robin would have ran off, pretty much leaving behind a batarang, him blowing up a little bit of a area right behind him before, the fire entity followed them. As Robin would hack into the camera frame, trying to figure out what happened, he would see that he would find some footage, but it wouldn't be showing the full thing. As they would do this, they would go down the tunnels, then eventually coming towards the, pretty much, the bookshelf area, them going down the stairs, and them walking down the area. As we see them walk down the book area, them, hearing something, them hiding immediately. But as they were hiding, basically we see that Artemis would have lost her guard, her thinking that one of the, were a tornado. Basically it being, shown to be a different android, a very unpleasant face. Pretty much the android would have tried to grab Artemis, but they would have started to get out of the way. Pretty much Robin would have, seen them use his powers, and basically he would go for a little bit of a risky move, and would have ran towards the water android, grabbing it by the head, and taking a little bit of his powers. or not taking the powers. Since Robin can't take powers from inanimate objects, he can only copy them. As Robin would copy some of the abilities of, the android, what was it, the Hydroid android. We said that Robin would have tapped into pretty much a secret passage in the bookway, basically them getting into the tunnels and running off. As you see that they would run off, basically they would start to get away. But basically Artemis would have said, we gotta go after the others, see what they're doing. Basically her also asking what was going on. Robin would have said, I don't know, but basically they would have heard a little bit of commotion. As we see this happen, we see they would swim down towards the water area. Them seeing everything go down, them seeing the fire android and the water android basically, do all this. As the water android will raise up the water, starting to drown pretty much, Connor and Wally. You'll see that pretty much Artemis and Robin would be caught in this water wave as well. Them coming across Wally and Connor. But basically, we get switch the rest of the episode a scene that pretty much Artemis and Aqualad was stuck in a fire cage. And as we see this happen, Robin would use a little bit of his powers and would have shot a huge wave of pretty much water towards Aqualad and Artemis's cage, trying to, pretty much extinguish it. But you would see that he wouldn't have the full copy ability as the water android. As they're going up the stairs, the water android would have tried to follow them. But as we see this, the water android would have had a little bit of a dent in his face. Since Robin didn't really touch him, he more or less punched the absolute dirt out of the water android, trying to get his powers as well at the same time as trying to destroy him. As we see, Robin would have thrown batarangs towards the, water android. We see the fight would go differently because Robin would have used his pretty much, his durability and the strength he got from Blockbuster, him taking both the water blast and the fire blast, telling Artemis to run. Artemis would have ran off, Robin using his abilities or his power to basically go up and take both of them. Him running towards the fire android and knocking the literal crud out of the fire android, pretty much knocking its servers out, or pretty much just knocking it out incompletely. I don't even know. Robin kind of, let's say Robin knocked the wires out of place. And Robin would have also grabbed the water android, ripping his leg off, and throwing it down to the ground. And throwing the leg into the water android's back. As both of the androids are out of commission, their havoc would have gone down, and the fight would have been ended very quickly because it's just realistic. Because I don't want to stretch out the fight. Because Robin has the powers of Blockbuster. Why wouldn't he not use them? And basically, we'll see that pretty much, Robin and Artemis would need that, pretty much plan since Robin just tanked them. Artemis would have came back and pretty much, Robin would have used a lot of his Blockbuster strength to try to rip open the, stuff that's around Wally and Connor. Basically, him actually being able to crack it, since halfway through the havoc, he would be able to find the baton. He would look at the baton and would use one last time, him mimicking the abilities of pretty much Superman. As we see this happen, we see that Robin would have looked at Connor, and Connor would have asked Robin one more time, could you give me, a power? Basically, Robin would have looked at Connor and would have grabbed him by the arm, and Connor would have felt a little bit different. Pretty much, Robin would have said, you want to fly there. And basically, he would walk away from Connor having a smirk on his face, and basically Robin and the rest of the team would have tried to, pretty much they would have dragged the androids' bodies, and pretty much a little while later, pretty much Red Tornado would have shown up a little bit earlier. And basically, we would say that Red Tornado would have been expecting the androids' bodies, but we say that the androids' bodies would have, we see that the androids' bodies would have interacted with, Red Tornado's bodies, or Red Tornado's body, basically making Red Tornado think, or basically, making Red Tornado think, not make it, sorry guys, I can't script this, I literally can't do it today. We see that Red Tornado would have been, still mind controlled, or still, influenced by the androids. Him pretty much using his ability to pretty much, try to take out the team. As we see Robin see this, Robin would have ran towards would have ran towards with the the power, the tankiness of pretty much Blockbuster, him running towards pretty much, or him just walking against the wind pressure against Red Tornado. Red Tornado using a lot of wind pressure and pretty much eventually overpowering Robin, since Robin doesn't have the bulkiness or the size of Blockbuster, but he only has the durability and strength. And basically, as we see this happen, we see that Robin would have get pushed back, and pretty much the rest of the team would have get knocked out. Robin just falling into the water, and him falling down. As we see, Red Tornado would have escaped with the androids' bodies, and we see the rest of the team in the Justice League would have shown up. Basically, as we see, Connor would have been, or Connor and Wally would have been helped out of the, substance they were stuck in. When we get switched to the end of the episode, and I'm going to leave it off here, guys. I'm going to continue episode, or part 4 of this What If, with episode 13, Alpha Male, and episode 14, and episode 15, and episode 16. Because, when I get to episode 13, I'll just go all the way to 4 episodes. So, yeah, guys. So, episode 13, 14, 15, and 16, I'm going to be doing it in part 4 of this What If. And, guys, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you guys like and subscribe. And, as always, guys, have a blessed day. See you guys later. Bye. Deuces.